Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. I welcome you all in the 5 MCQ series of finance. Today we'll be discussing 5 MCQs on derivatives. Now before moving ahead, we at EduTap have a very good news for all of you that we have prepared a comprehensive guidebook for RBI Grade B and SEBI Grade A, which would provide you all the answers which are sufficient to start your preparation, starting from the role of RBI and SEBI in the economy, the hierarchy, the detailed syllabus, the pattern of the exam, the cutoffs prevailing, starting from phase 1 to the interview stage. And not just that, when you join the organization, what are the perks and what is the in hand drawn salary? We as an aspirant spend a lot of time finding all this information around, but we at the end somehow waste a lot of time and do not end up finding the right answer. So we have designed a comprehensive book for you which will not consume a lot of time but will give you all the answers to start your preparation. This guidebook is absolutely free and you can download the same from the description box. If you're new to our YouTube channel, please press the bell icon and subscribe for more updates. You can join our Telegram channel to get the PDFs of the session, and you can also contact us if you have any queries. Now, before starting the session, yesterday I'd given you a homework question on time value of money. The question says that the investor has been given with two options, that he is paid rupees 100 for the next 3 years, and he's paid rupees 75 for the next 4 years, and the interest rate in both the cases is 5% per annum. Now this is an example of an annuity. What is an annuity? When you receive equal amount of cash flows for a fixed period of time, and in this case you need to find the present value of annuity. The correct answer to the question is option C, that the investor can make his investment in option A, that is, he can receive rupees 100 for the next 3 years. Now let us see how do we calculate the present value of the annuity. You have to simply multiply the cash flows which you will receive every year, that is the annuity amount rupees 100, multiplied by 1 plus interest rate, that is 1 plus 0.05, whole to the power n, that is number of years, n in this case is 3, minus 1, and this whole term would be divided again by the interest rate, that is 0.05. And when you solve both the cases, you find the present value of option A to be more. So since the option value of present A is more, the investor should choose the option A. Now, let's begin the session. The first question says that derivatives are financial instruments used to hedge risk. It derives its value from which of the following? Is it exchange determined, fixed by SEBI, underlying, market determined, or none of the above? The correct answer is option C, that is underlying. Now let us understand what is a derivative. See, there are three important terms when you are supposed to understand what are derivatives. The first thing is that derivative is a financial instrument. What do you mean by a financial instrument? Which means that derivatives is similar to bonds or equities, wherein you as an investor can make investment and get returns. Now the next thing is that the derivative derives its value from something. This word is important. It derives its value. What do you mean by deriving? It simply means the value of derivative is dependent on something. So what is it dependent on? The value of the derivative is dependent on the underlying asset, and derivative has a fixed expiry date. Now let us understand what is an underlying asset in a very basic way, and then we'll get into the technicalities. Now let's say you guys go to the shop of Reliance. ठीक है? You go for shopping, and at the bill counter the cashier tells you that, ma'am or sir, you can open a account with us, which is the loyalty program account, wherein the more you purchase, the more points would be redeemed into your loyalty card, which is also known as payback cards. ठीक है? And the more points accumulate, the more amount of discount can be redeemed in future. Now, the points added in this payback card can be assumed as a derivative, and now the points which will be added depends on which factor. The points added would depend on a simple factor, that how many times you make the transaction there. The more number of transactions you make, the more these points would get added. So what is happening? The value of this card depends on underlying, which is the number of transactions you make. Likewise, in case of a derivative, its value depends on a underlying asset. What can be an underlying asset? Underlying asset can be anything like a stock, a bond, or a commodity. So when I say the underlying asset is a stock, the value of the derivative would depend on the value of the stock. If I say the underlying is a bond, the value of the derivative would depend on the value of the bond, which means if the value of bond increases, then the value of derivative would increase. Likewise, in all the other cases, the other examples of underlying can be interest rate, market indices like Nifty 50, and currency. ठीक है, let's say you invested in a derivative where the underlying is Indian rupee. So when the value of rupees appreciates or increases, the value of derivative would increase. Thus, to recapitulate, what can I say? What is an underlying asset? An underlying asset is a financial asset, ठीक है, जिस पे derivative का value depend करता है. Now keep in mind that these derivatives have there can be different underlyings which are possible. So these derivatives derive their name from the type of underlying asset which is being used. Now let's say it is a equity, मतलब एक stock underlying है या market index underlying है, तो in all those cases those derivatives are known as equity derivatives. I hope you understood what are derivatives. Moving ahead, the question says that which of the following instruments are generally traded off the exchange. The question asks कि कौन से instrument, derivative instruments are not traded on the exchange simply. Is it forward contract? Is it futures, options, or futures and swaps, or forwards and swaps? Now the correct answer to the question is, I'm sorry, it is option A, option E, I'm sorry. The correct answer is forward and swap. The correct answer is, I'm sorry, it's option E. It is forwards and swaps. Now, what are forwards, futures, swaps, and option? These are the types of derivatives. Okay, we understood what are derivatives. Now we'll understand what are the types of derivatives. Now, forward is an agreement between two people. Okay, between two people where the buyer and the seller, there are two parties involved, one is the buyer, one is the seller, both are obliged to execute the contract, ठीक है, on a future date. As I said, your derivative has an expiry. Let's say the agreement is made for 1 month, which means after 1 month the contract cannot be executed, ठीक है. Now, what happens is, which also means that these derivatives have a short term period. So, forward contract में क्या होता है? Both the parties are obliged to close the contract on a future date, and the price of this contract is predetermined. Keep in mind that forward contracts are customized in nature. ठीक है? What do I mean when I say it's customized? That you can decide, the two parties, that is the buyer and seller, can decide the price, the quantity sold, the expiry date. All these things can be customized, and there is no formal exchange which is existing between the buyer and the seller. And one more thing, always keep in mind that the buyer and the seller always have a opposite viewpoint, है ना? Opposite view about the underlying. एक को लगता है कि फ्यूचर में अंडरलाइंग का प्राइस बढ़ेगा, तो दूसरे को लगता है कि एक का प्राइस घटेगा. Now, what happens in a future contract? Future contract is similar to a forward contract, but the only difference is that these future contracts are traded on a exchange, which means they are exchange regulated, they cannot be customized. ठीक है, इसका क्या मतलब है कि द एक्सचेंज इज गोइंग टू डिसाइड द क्वांटिटी विच इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द लॉट साइज of the derivative, the expiry date, the price, everything. So the forward contract and future contract में basic difference क्या है कि futures are exchange traded whereas forward contracts are OTC, over the counter traded. Over the counter क्या है कि the two parties exchange the deal in between, अपने exchange कर लेते हैं और there is no central regulatory body present. I mean the not the central regulatory body. There's no clearing corporation. I'm sorry. There's no clearing corporation in between the two parties. Now, what is an option? Now, option is also a derivative wherein the buyer and seller have the right. ठीक है, they have the right, but they are not obliged. ठीक है, टू कैरी आउट द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑन अ फ्यूचर डेट. मतलब दोनों के पास मजबूरी नहीं है कि फ्यूचर डेट में वो इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को कैरी आउट करें. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द प्रॉफिट और लॉस सिचुएशन. ठीक है, व्हाट आर स्वॉप्स? स्वॉप्स सी आर नथिंग बट अ डेरिवेटिव वेयर इन टू काउंटर पार्टीज. ठीक है, they exchange a series of cash flow for different financial instrument. We'll not go into the depth of the swap, but keep in mind that swaps are also not traded on the exchange. So the correct answer is option E, which says forwards and swaps do not trade on exchange. ठीक है, now let's move to the third question. Now this is a very important concept. It's a numerical. Do not get afraid. You can easily solve it if you understand how derivatives work. The question says that currently the stock price of XYZ company is trading at 960. The current price of rupees 960, इसको क्या कहते हैं? Spot price भी कहते हैं. ठीक है, करंट प्राइस और द स्पॉट प्राइस, उसका सिंपली मतलब क्या है कि इस समय मार्केट में इस स्टॉक का क्या वैल्यू है. ठीक है, द इनिशियल मार्जिन रिक्वायरमेंट इज 8%, वेयर एज द मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन रिक्वायर्ड इज 4%. नाउ अज्यूम द लॉट साइज टू बी 1. लॉट साइज क्या है? द नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स विच द पार्टीज आर गोइंग टू ट्रांजैक्ट, विच इज इक्वल टू 1 in the given question. Then we need to calculate the stock price at which margin call would be made. ठीक है, सबसे पहले समझते हैं. दिस इज एन एग्जाम्पल. दिस क्वेश्चन is based on a future contract. So what did I tell you? The biggest difference between future and forward, कि futures are not customized. The exchange, that is, or the clearing house decides the various factors like the price, the quantity, the expiry date, and this highly reduces the counterparty risk. कौन सा risk? Counterparty risk. मान लो एक पार्टी लॉस में है, at the end वो कह सकता है I'm not going to transact. This can happen in case of a forward contract. But since futures take place in an exchange, the counterparty risk is eliminated. And how does the exchange do that? They ask the trader, that is the buyer and seller, to deposit certain amount of money which is known as the initial margin. ठीक है, this is the amount which they have to deposit with the exchange, and based on the profit and loss, daily money is added or subtracted from this value. Now there is another term which is mentioned here which is known as the maintenance margin. Maintenance margin क्या है? Maintenance margin is the minimum amount these traders have to keep with the exchange so as to keep their position open. ठीक है, मतलब इनिशियल मार्जिन तो डिपॉजिट करना ही करना है और एक मिनिमम अमाउंट मेंटेन करना है उनको एक्सचेंज के साथ, विच इज नोन एज द मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन. सो ये मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन और ये इनिशियल मार्जिन किस अमाउंट पे लगता है? जिस प्राइस पे आप डेरिवेटिव को परचेज कर रहे हो. तो सी द इनिशियल मार्जिन ना यूजुअली रेंजेस फ्रॉम 16% to 20%, किस इस रेंज में रहता है, ठीक है। यू कैन आस्क मैम फिर यहाँ पे 8% ऐसे, ये डिपेंड करता है एक्सचेंज पे कि स्टॉक कितना वॉलेटाइल है, ठीक है, हाउ मच द स्टॉक इज वॉलेटाइल। तो ये स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस डिटरमाइन करते हैं। और मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन, एज आई सेड यू, इज द मिनिमम अमाउंट which the trader must keep so as to keep the contract open। और मार्जिन कॉल क्या होता है, जब भी इन्वेस्टर का या ट्रेडर का पैसा मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन से नीचे जाता है, ही इज सपोज टू डिपॉजिट मनी। तो क्वेश्चन पूछ रही है कि किस प्राइस पे मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन का, जब पहुंच जाएगा मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन तो मार्जिन कॉल होगा, मतलब किस प्राइस पे द इन्वेस्टर हैज टू डिपॉजिट मनी। द करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑप्शन ए। लेट्स सी हाउ डू वी सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन। सबसे पहले यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन इज द मार्जिन कॉल मेड। एज आई सेड यू, व्हेन द वैल्यू गोज बिलो द मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन, ठीक है। या तो इन सिंपल टर्म्स आप कहो कि व्हेन द लेवल ऑफ इनिशियल मार्जिन बिकम्स इक्वल टू द मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन। इनिशियल मार्जिन डिपॉजिट किया था, जब वो इक्वल हो जाएगा आपके मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन से, तब एक्सचेंज क्या करती है, मार्जिन कॉल करती है। एंड देयर आर two ways to solve this. We'll solve this using normal application method, wherein C, the stock price given is 960. Now initial margin is 8% of the stock price, which turns out to be 76.8%. मतलब initially the buyer and the seller has to deposit 76.8 rupees with the exchange. Now what is maintenance margin? Maintenance margin is again 4% of the stock price in the given case. Now this will turn out to be 38.4 rupees, which means जब आपके अकाउंट में पैसा 38.4 से कम हो जाएगा तो द एक्सचेंज वुड मेक यू अ मार्जिन कॉल, ठीक है। अब क्या है, कब होगा ये दोनों इक्वल, व्हेन यू सब्ट्रैक्ट 76.8 माइनस 38.4, इस वैल्यू पे मेंटेनेंस मार्जिन हो जाएगा इनिशियल मार्जिन के बराबर। सो दिस टर्न्स आउट टू बी ₹38.4। मतलब व्हेन योर इनिशियल मार्जिन फॉल्स बाय ₹38.4, विच मीन्स स्टॉक के टर्म्स में देखो, स्टॉक का क्या प्राइस, which means at rupees 960 minus 38.4, which is equal to 921.6, जब इस प्राइस पे स्टॉक आएगी तो उस केस में द बायर और द सेलर is required to deposit money. See, this is a normal application. The other method used to calculate the margin call is known as textbook method, ठीक है। both the cases, both these methods give you the right answer, but ऐसे याद रखना कि जब भी टेक्स्ट बुक मेथड और नॉर्मल एप्लीकेशन दोनों का आंसर दिया है, वी चूज टेक्स्ट बुक मेथड फॉर फाइंडिंग द आंसर, ठीक है। व्हाट इज द फॉर्मूला ऑफ टेक्स्ट बुक मेथड? इट इज नथिंग बट द प्राइस, दैट इज द स्पॉट प्राइस, multiplied by 1 minus initial margin by 1 minus maintenance margin. So there's a slight variation in the answer, and whenever the answer comes using any of the methods, और अगर वो ऑप्शन में है तो आप उसको चुन लेना, और अगर दोनों है आंसर तो give importance to textbook method. Let's move ahead. Question 4 says that when you buy an asset from the party in a normal transaction where all the money is paid and deal is concluded there and then, ठीक है, ये वर्ड को ध्यान दो, is concluded then and there, then this is called dash. Is it cash market, is it derivative market, is it bond market, or is it option A and B, or all of the above? See, the market can in India can be divided in two segments. One is the cash segment and one is the derivative segment, ठीक है। कैश सेगमेंट में क्या होता है, द ट्रांजैक्शन टेक्स प्लेस देन एंड देयर, मतलब अभी आप पैसा दोगे और उस सेम मोमेंट में यू विल गेट द एसेट्स इन योर हैंड, बट ये केस डेरिवेटिव में नहीं होता। नाउ सो विच मीन्स यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन क्या कर रहा है, द क्वेश्चन सेज दैट वेयर ऑल द मनी इज पेड अप फ्रंट, कैश मार्केट में पेमेंट क्या है, अप फ्रंट है, ठीक है, एंड द डील इज कंक्लूडेड देन एंड देयर एज आई सेड कि यू विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड द एसेट. सो द राइट आंसर इज ऑप्शन ए, कैश मार्केट. ठीक है, कैसे समझोगे कैश मार्केट को? ठीक है, लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज कैश मार्केट विद एन एग्जांपल. लेट्स से यू गो टू अ गोल्ड शॉप, ठीक है, एंड द कॉस्ट ऑफ गोल्ड टुडे इज ₹40,000. ठीक है, तो ये 40,000 क्या हो गया? दिस 40,000 इज नोन एज द स्पॉट प्राइस, जो प्राइस अभी प्रिवेल कर रहा है, और द मार्केट प्राइस. तो यू डिसाइड टू बाई गोल्ड, 10 ग्राम गोल्ड खरीदते हो, तो आप क्या करोगे? यू विल गिव दिस 40,000 टू द शॉपकीपर, ठीक है, and in return he'll give you 10 grams of gold. So which means the transaction concluded immediately. ऐसे transactions को जो तुरंत settle हो जाते हैं, they are settled on the spot, those kinds of transactions are known as cash market transactions. ठीक है, समझ आ गया? बहुत सिंपल है. Now let's move to the last question. It says that what is the future price of the asset if the present price of asset is ₹100, the cost of carry is expected to be 5 and the return expected is 4. Now ये question क्या है? It is based on the pricing of futures. ठीक है, pricing of futures क्यों important है? See, there's always a difference in the price in the cash market and the derivative market. डेरिवेटिव मार्केट क्यों? कैश मार्केट, आई एम सॉरी, का क्या है? स्पॉट प्राइस और डेरिवेटिव प्राइस में देयर इज ऑलवेज अ डिफरेंस, है ना. स्पॉट प्राइस इज नॉट सेम एज द फ्यूचर प्राइस, ठीक है. तो ये डिफरेंस जो है, दिस इज व्हाट यू नो ब्रिंग्स द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द प्राइसिंग ऑफ फ्यूचर. ठीक है, और फ्यूचर के प्राइसिंग को कैसे कैलकुलेट करते हैं? यूजिंग अ सिंपल थ्योरी विच इज नोन एज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी. कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी क्या है ना, यहाँ पे सिंपली द फ्यूचर प्राइस ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज कैलकुलेटेड बाय इक्वेटिंग स्पॉट प्राइस प्लस द कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी माइनस द एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न. एक एक टर्म्स को समझेंगे. स्पॉट प्राइस क्या है? जो करेंटली मार्केट में प्रिवेलिंग है. व्हाट इज द करंट प्राइस? दैट इज 100. ठीक है, अब कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी क्या होता है ना? द कॉस्ट इनकर्ड टू मेंटेन द एसेट, या उस एसेट को यूज करने में या उसको स्टोर करने में जो कॉस्ट लग रहा है, उस कॉस्ट को कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी कहते हैं. लेट्स से द अंडरलाइंग एसेट इज अ कमोडिटी. ठीक है, एग्जांपल ले लो कि द अंडरलाइंग एसेट इज अ कमोडिटी, लेट्स से व्हीट. तो कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी क्या हो गया? स्टोरेज कॉस्ट, है ना, यहाँ पे लिख देते हैं स्टोरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ व्हीट. ये जो कॉस्ट लग रहा है वो कॉस्ट होता है कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी. नाउ एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न का ले लो, मान लो जैसे डिविडेंड, बोनस, ये सब होता है तुम्हारा expected return. Will not go into the depth of how these things affect the price, but for now just solve the numerical. Now in this question, the correct answer is option A. Let's see how do we solve. As I said you, the future price is nothing but the spot price, which is ₹100, plus the cost of carry, which is ₹5 in this given case, minus the expected return, which is ₹4. So the cost of future would be ₹101. ठीक है, समझ गए? देखो, what does the cost of carry definition means? The cost of holding the asset till the future contract matures. मतलब अगर 1 मंथ का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है और उस 1 महीने तक मेरे को एसेट को संभाल के रखना है, तो वो कॉस्ट is known as cost of carry. As I said you, it can be a storage cost, it can be an interest paid to acquire the asset. जैसे कभी कभी होता है ना, वी कुछ खरीदना है तो उसका इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहे हैं, फाइनेंस करने में कितना कॉस्ट लगा, दोज टाइप्स ऑफ कॉस्ट आर नोन एज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी. नाउ कैरी रिटर्न क्या है? द इनकम विच यू रिसीव, द इनकम डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम द एसेट वाइल होल्डिंग इट, जैसे डिविडेंड्स या बोनस. तो वील सबट्रैक्ट दिस वैल्यू फ्रॉम द स्पॉट प्राइस प्लस द कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरी. बहुत सिंपल न्यूमेरिकल है. डू नॉट स्किप न्यूमेरिकल्स, फॉर्मूला याद करो, you'll easily able to solve. Now, moving ahead, today I have a homework question for you which says that which of the following statement is or are true about derivatives. It deals with the long and short positions, put options. Do let me know the answer in the comment section, and I'll let you know the people who answered it right tomorrow. Thank you for watching this session. I hope you enjoyed this session and you were able to revise derivatives. If you still have any queries, do write to us in the comment section, or you can contact us on this given number. Thank you.